My favorite Disney animated film is The Princess and the Frog. It was the first time I saw a Disney princess that looked like me.
As a Black woman, I didn't get to grow up with those kind of visual representations. Having that at a young age makes you realize that you can do anything.
My name is Reagan. I'm 15 years old, and my Disney dream job is to become an artist at Walt Disney Animation Studios. You can always find me in the art room. That was the first room I went into, and after that, I've just grown used to the art room. I always go in there.
I started noticing Reagan's talent for art when she was really little. As she got a little bit older, probably about middle school, she kind of started advancing a little bit. She would draw like little comic book sketches. She does struggle, I think, a little bit with venturing out and meeting friends. She really just wants to kind of be in the art studio after school or, at home drawing in her sketchbooks.
Today I'm going to meet some artists and learn about the process of making Disney animated films. I'm really excited.
Great to meet you, so great to meet you. Welcome to Walt Disney Animation Studios. I'm Ron Clements, and I hear that you are a big fan of the movie The Princess and the Frog. I actually co-directed that movie.
Whoa!
Right. I hear that you draw. You're an artist. This piece was one of the very first pieces ever done on the movie of Prince Naveen arriving in New Orleans for the first time. And then we have a drawing of Mama Odie, and this is a very early version of Tiana.
Inside the hallways, there was like a whole bunch of paintings, constantly looking to each side. Okay, gotta make sure I look at every single one.
So that's just an example of the different kind of artists, and you're gonna meet a great one. This is Mark Henn. This is Rachel Bibb.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I remember when I was a small boy, this was a dream job for me. What's your dream about Disney animation?
Princess and the Frog, seeing her on screen, I was like, I want to become part of that. I want other kids to have that same excitement and joy of seeing a character that looks like them on screen, like I did.
Well, that's great. So we'll just start with a character that you might recognize. And so I put a new piece of paper down so I can start making my changes. As an animator, I'm working very loose and rough. I'm not too concerned about the final look of the drawing at this point, and that's where we're a team.
We heard that Tiana is one of your favorite characters, right?
Yeah.
So everyone would draw her in a slightly different way, and my job is to make sure that she always looks like Tiana, no matter who drew her.
Reagan, she's such a perfectionist with her drawing, and she'll beat herself up if it's not perfect, but there's all these different steps. The animator doing the first part, and then the cleanup artist coming in, finishing it off, and you don't realize that those are two separate functions.
So that's kind of how we divvy up our responsibilities on a single character. And it's one of the amazing things about animation. I don't know about you, but drawing tends to be a very solitary process. You sit alone in your room and you draw your drawings.
I'm glad that you said that because it means that I'm not weird for being incredibly shy.
Animators in general tend to be very much observers. So I think being quiet and being shy would never prevent someone from becoming a great animator.
When my mentors shared their life experiences with me, it made me feel really, really good because it meant that I wasn't this weird, awkward person who has all these awkward stories to tell and that they went through the same thing as me.
I want to see you draw. What we're going to suggest is just a simple bouncing ball.
Okay.
We'll start with the ball in the air up high. And so now with your left hand, pick up the piece of paper there so that you can flip between your first drawing that you did and your second drawing. You'll start to see, aha, it's starting to move a little bit. Okay, let's put a new sheet of paper down. This ball is going to hit the ground. Now what happens when a ball hits a hard object?
Flat.
It's going to flatten out a little bit. So once the ball has hit the ground, now it's going to bounce. When it goes up, it's actually going to compress the other way. So it doesn't quite get back to the full round shape until right towards the end.
Drawing the bouncing ball with Mark and Rachel was really fun, although I knew I was in trouble because I can't draw circles.
Why don't we get going to the effects department to meet our friend Marlon.
So, are you familiar with what effects are in an animated film?
Kind of?
Yeah, a little bit. So, usually what I say, effects is everything that moves on screen that's not the characters. The smoke, water, rain, fire, explosions, magic. So you may be familiar with this scene where Tiana meets Naveen for the first time. Knowing this was a film about amphibians, we used a lot of water cues and bubbles and things instead of traditional like pixie dust.
Sometimes they have like close-ups of like plants and like how they sway. Do you do that too?
Yeah, very often. So most recently I worked on Moana. So in Moana it also has a bunch of effects, but mainly a lot of water. And you know, water is really difficult, and everybody knows what it looks like, so you can't really fake it. Right. What you'll learn walking around here today is that both creative and technical challenges. You got a character like Te Kā here, who's like a living volcano, you know, so you have to have like a character performance that's believable, and then you have to have all these aspects of what a volcano is to kind of actually imbue her with believability. So I guess you're going to go see Don and Josie now from Story, so
right.
I'll walk out with you.
Okay. I didn't realize there were like so many steps. I thought it was like, oh, all you have to do is just draw the pictures and put them together and voila, you got a movie. Hi.
You? I'm Josie.
I'm Reagan.
Hi, Reagan. I'm Don.
Hi.
It's very nice to meet you. Storyboarding was essentially invented by Walt Disney. Once the story team is assembled, sequences are handed out, and each story artist gets a sequence. We could start to talk about an idea, but then you're like, okay, I'll just draw it. You know, this is Tiana. And it can be really rough drawing.
That's kind of the great joy of Story, is that there are no rules. It could be incredibly scary, but at the same time, there's so much freedom to create your own vision.
Once the scene starts to kind of come together, then you can refine it. That's what the main job of the story artist is. She's building a character. What was nothing before, and now they're something. They're actually starting to be attracted to each other. I mean, that's what you start to see, is these characters start to come alive.
I heard that you do comic books, is that right? So
Yeah.
Essentially, you've been storyboarding already?
Yeah, you're on storyboarding.
And then from there, you get a bunch of notes and just do it all over again until the movie is done.
Done.
One of the things that I always kind of struggled with was, should I just leave her alone to her books and her art, or push her to be a little bit more outgoing? But after today, walking into this building full of people just like Reagan, it's made me realize that her little different quirks and stuff that she may have, it will all help her as far as pursuing her dream.
A lot of introverts are drawn to animation because it's a way that you can kind of let yourself go, express yourselves, even if you are shy. So I can relate to that in her.
I realized that I don't really need the approval of other people, and I could just be myself, and it wouldn't matter. Today has confirmed that being a Disney animator is definitely my Disney dream job. I'm going to go out and get myself a flip book and start animating right away.